Good morning, John. I'm here in London's Heathrow Airport at an empty gate that is not my own. My own isn't even open yet. I got here 2 hours early because that's what they say you should do. But now I'm here 2 hours early. Should I trust the people who tell me to get here 2 hours early when they also run the shopping mall that they build inside of the airport that you are then stuck inside of? I don't think it actually is those people. I think it's separate people, but they are probably working. Who owns the airport? This is a question no one can answer. I know the answer, but I'm not going to tell you. I think you should figure it out on your own. What an interesting question. Who owns the airport? We know who owns the airlines. The stockholders own the airlines. But, who owns the airport? Who runs all the little baggage cars? Who decides how uncomfortable to make the chairs? There's a really wide variety of chair comfort. Who chose the chairs at LAX, by the way? The ones that may have once been comfortable, but are, literally all broken now. I bet there's a lawsuit about that. Here at Heathrow, right now, they're, having an advertising campaign where they just show, a bunch of Londoners waving. We have different, a variety of wild jobs. I think this is lovely. There's people selling dates, and there's musicians, and there's the woman at the science museum who teaches kids science stuff. Give us a little look at all the weird ways people make things work. Like this woman who does judging at Wimbledon, but they did this to her face, and I looked at this and I was like, somebody made this choice and they worked for the airport. But of course, part of the idea of this little signage campaign is you'll never know who that is. There's so many people adding their value, and oh, actually, no, there she is. There she is. This is the woman. She's the one who did this. Wow. You could have put you there, but you didn't. You put the Wimbledon lady there. This is perhaps the best unintentional prop comedy I've ever witnessed. It's like, oh, who put this woman's face on this strange thing, making her look ridiculous? This lady right here. She's two people down. It is wild, though, going from a small town existence to going to a big city. I was just in Boston. Now I'm in London. And I think that in these places, it could seem like, oh, there's so many people. This is kind of a Montana vibe that I get from a lot of Montana people. It's just there's too many people here. What could all of these people possibly be doing? When I live in Missoula, I'm like, oh, I know what these people are doing. There's not that many neighborhoods. There's not that many businesses. It all kind of makes sense. But if you're on the M5 or whatever, I don't know, that's how they name roads here, you don't have a conception of all of the places where you can live in and around this town. You don't have a conception of all of the places people can work in and around this town. But I have become a stranger talker, and I apologize for it, but I've become a stranger talker, and everybody I talk to, they're doing really interesting things that seem valuable in the world. I think there's a lot of value in being a stranger talker because it helps you understand that the world works because of people, and so all the people are valuable. They're all doing stuff. They're not competing with you. They're helping you. They might not be helping you directly, but they're all we're all in it a little bit together. I just think that we've ended up in a society that has way too little trust, and I think part of that is literally not talking to each other. And not too little trust because it would be better, but it would, but too little trust because it's deserved. John, I'm happy that we have a hip podcast for teens. I don't know. That's a Dear Hank and John joke. I apologize to Vlogbrothers viewers if you're not a Dear Hank and John listener. But I do like Dear Hank and John. I'm reinvigorated over Dear Hank and John this year, and in part because we made this crazy podcast that I think is illustrative of a lot of things that I've seen happen on the internet. I've seen it happen to a lot of different people. I just saw it happen to you first. And so I listened to that podcast episode while I was walking through Kensington Garden, and I thought that we did a good job. And I don't know. I'm going to talk to you about this personally. I'm going to talk to you about this one-on-one, not online. But I just think it's so easy to carry the weight of things that are mechanistic, probabilistic, accidents of history, rather than reflective of reality. There's a lot of stuff out here that is more about what can capture attention than it is about how good are you at representing reality. We know this. But sometimes we get caught up in that loop, and it's very hard to feel it. It's really hard to accept that when you're sucked into that it isn't something you did, or it isn't even reflective of your work. And I think that that's also another mechanism by which we lose some trust in the world. And I want to be on the lookout for these. I want to be worried about them because I don't think that they're reflective of reality, but I do think that they have a negative impact on reality. And selfishly to some extent, but also I think not selfishly. John, London is a magic. It's a magic, and I hope that I get to come here with you sometime, and I hope that I get to go to a game with you sometime. That would be wild. And I apologize I didn't get to make it happen this time, but I do have to go home immediately. Good work. I always liked Zombicorns. I always thought it was good, so I'm glad you now agree with me. I will see you on Tuesday.